ఈరోజు గురుకులాస్ పెడగాజీ ఆఫ్ సోషల్ సైన్సెస్లో భాగంగా లెర్నింగ్ డిజబిలిటీస్ గురించి తెలుసుకుందాం. లెర్నింగ్ ఈజ్ ఏ ప్రాసెస్ whereby children interact with the environment and profit from new experiences with the help of their biological intelligence in bringing a change in their behavior. But all children do not learn at the same pace. Some may learn faster, some may learn very slow, some may even fail to learn as they lack the capacity to profit from new experiences. This inability to learn and understand in comparison to their peer group can be termed as learning disability. Means the inability to learn and understand in comparison to their peer group can be termed as learning disability. Learning disability is nothing but a sort of helplessness, and that can be felt by the learner in terms of his or her academic performance. They are neither mentally retarded nor do they have visual or hearing problems, but they have problems in speaking, reading, writing, arithmetic, listening and comprehension. What is learning disability? Having trouble in processing information, organizing information, applying information. Characteristics of this learning disability. First one is learning discrepancy. They essentially suffer from impaired learning efficiency and may exhibit a significant educational discrepancy. There exists a discrepancy in the learning potential between the actual level of learning and deficient learning process. They suffer from serious learning disorders. The learning discrepancy is seen in 5 areas. They are attention, perception, memory, cognition and encoding. These 5 areas are attention, perception, memory, cognition and encoding. Hyperactivity and attention deficit disorder. Learning disabled children exhibit high rates of purposeless movements and also inability to concentrate and attend to a given task, which is termed as ADHD. They may not concentrate their inability to concentrate on the given task. Impulsivity. A learning disabled child demonstrates symptoms of impulsivity. He may be impulsive, which may lead into conflict situations in conforming to the established norms of the society. He deviates from the normality. Motor deficits. It demonstrates perceptual motor deficits in the form of poor performance in drawing, writing, copying geometrical figures, handling instruments and appliances, etc. He may not perform with hand properly. He will have a kind of handwriting. It may not be properly shaped. Deficiency in formation, processing skills. They lack adequate ability in problem solving, memory, motivation, generalizing, thinking and information processing skills. Emotional disorders. Most of them may suffer from emotional problems and demonstrate sign of anxiety. They are having very anxious moments and mood swings also. It will be very extremes. Achievement deficiency. Learning disabled children exhibit deficiency in achievement in one or more academic content areas. They have deficiency in academic content areas like reading, writing, listening, speaking, mathematical calculation, reasoning, etc. General coordination deficit. Learning disabled child is often described as clumsy in gross motor activities and may find it difficult to take part in activities requiring eye and hand coordination like threading beads, using a pair of scissors, riding a bicycle, hopping, etc. Child may not be able to do perfectly. They also show difficulty in coloring, painting, such as art and craft activities. Disorders of speech and hearing. They may have delayed speech and difficulty with language. Auditory perception of sounds and their meanings is also delayed among most of them. So, delayed speech will be there and auditory perception also not so good. Identification of these learning disabled children. Has difficulty in telling the time, remembering the order of days, months and seasons and mathematical tables. They have very much difficulty in telling all these. Finds it difficult to organize his work and is often late in submitting the class work or homework, whatever it may be. He is very slow in doing work. Seems dull, slow in responding to others. Whenever we ask some question or something, child may not respond very quickly. Sometimes they will look very dull and very slow in responding to the teacher or parent or anybody. Can't correctly recall oral instructions when asked to repeat them. Whenever we say something and asking the child to repeat it, the child may not be able to recall properly, retrieve properly or reproduce properly. They can't remember correctly when they are having this learning disability. Does not seem to listen to or understand instructions given at home or in the classroom, and they will be asking for repetition. What teacher? Tell me again teacher. Yes ma'am. What it is? Please repeat it. Like this way child will be asking, then you have to suspect for a kind of learning disability. Shows excessive inconsistency in the quality of performance from time to time. Seems to be bright in many ways but still does poorly in school. Academic achievement will be poor, gets easily distracted even by slight disturbances. Confusion between left and right also. He will be so excited, learning disabled child will be excited, gets so excited, cannot sit still in the classroom even for a short period. While reading, he misses out lines or reads them twice or reads next line. Has difficulty in synthesizing a word after spelling its component letter. Make wild guesses at words where they make sense or not. For example, huge for hurt, turn for trainer. Huge spelling is entirely different, but the child sees HU, then he guesses and he reads it as a hurt. Turned for trainer. Reads words backwards. For example, on for no, saw for was. Put letters in the wrong order. Reading felt as left. So, he is reading it in a backward direction. Then shortens words like suddenly, that is for suddenly, suddenly. Member for remember. And he also misreads words which look similar, that is helps for held, house for horse. Then sometimes child reverse these letters, B as D and P as Q. Child learning disabled child omits letters, limp as lip, went as wet. Sometimes this learning disabled children adds letters, wants as what as what, does not write appropriate letter when given the sound, does not pick out letter of the alphabet when the name of the letter is called out. Whenever we are saying some alphabet, the child may not be able to pick up and child may not be able to write. Okay? Does not match the letter when asked to say it or write it. Difficulty in academic subjects. Sometimes the student is deficient in only one subject or a combination of more than one subject. Okay, he can have learning disability particular to one subject or a combination of subjects. Types of learning disabilities. Dyslexia. A language and reading disability is called as dyslexia. Dyscalculia. Problems with arithmetic and math concepts is called as dyscalculia. Dysgraphia. A writing disorder resulting in illegibility. Illegible means child is whatever he is writing, we are unable to understand, it is not legible, illegible. Dyspraxia, sensory integration disorder, this is problems with motor coordination. Central auditory processing disorder, difficulty in processing and remembering language related tasks. Non-verbal learning disorders, trouble with non-verbal cues, example body language, poor coordination and clumsy. Visual perceptual or visual motor deficit. Reverse letters cannot copy accurately from the board or from the textbook. Language disorders, aphasia, trouble understanding in spoken language, poor reading comprehension. He may not pronounce all the words correctly, he may not say exactly whatever the word is given. For example, we see mostly Ramudu, if you want to say, that child will be saying Lamudu. Reading disability, it is called as dyslexia. Dyslexia is an impairment in the brain's ability to translate written images received from the eyes into meaningful language. It is an impairment in the brain, it is brain's disability, actually it won't translate into written language or meaningful language whatever we received or perceived from the eyes. Also called specific reading disability. Dyslexia is the most common learning disability in children. Dyslexia occurs in individuals with normal vision and normal intelligence. Such individuals usually have normal speech but often have difficulty in interpreting spoken language and writing. They will have normal vision and normal intelligence, but disability only in the speech area and interpreting writing. A dyslexic child is usually an intelligent child but has the following characteristics. He has confusion with similar looking words like on and no. He gets confused with yesterday, today and tomorrow, breakfast and lunch. Does not stop talking. He giggles too much and also laughs the loudest. He has a short span of attention, poor memory and very much hyperactive. They cannot sit in one place for more than 2 minutes. Has frequent mood swings, sometimes very happy, sad and angry. Have uneven or jerky movements of eyes. Child can multiply and divide but cannot subtract or add in math. Usually reverses numbers, for example 14 becomes 41 and 5 becomes 2. Able to answer 4 plus 3 is equal to 7 but cannot answer 4 plus dash is equal to 7. Such type of fill in the blanks he may not able to understand. Works very slowly and does not finish work in allotted time, very slow in writing and doing work, writes in a very large hand, cannot control the pencil and thereby write small or write below or above the lines. Then these children, learning disabled children, erases often and writes over the same letter several times. They have very less poor motivation, no desire to learn a new task. They has meaningless preoccupation with certain behaviors like shaking legs, biting nails, all these. These children exhibit tension and anxiety while attending to speech. Dyslexic child looks normal like any other child, has normal or superior intelligence, but they have certain type of disabilities. Types of reading problems and remedial measures. Errors in reading, omissions. The child omits letters or whole word while reading. Generally, middle or end part of the word is omitted. Belt, instead of that the child writes or reads bet. So, we need to teach him to scan the complete word. Additions and insertions. The child insert a letter or syllable where it is not required. Example, play, played, care, careful. Oral training along with the audio taped reading can help the child. Here we have to give much oral training to the dyslexic child. Substitutions. The children substitute the word which look alike. Example, house or home, guess for guest. Child focuses only on the initial part of the word and ignores the rest. Ignoring the context due to poor sight, vocabulary and inadequate word recognition, pronunciation, hearing or vision defects. If the child will be having poor sight, vocabulary, less vocabulary and inadequate word recognition, pronunciation, hearing or vision defects, with this child substitutes some words. Then the use of flashcard, teaching such type of children to listen carefully and make the differences in the sound and practice with choral reading along with some other students, and rhyming also helps such type of children. Repetitions and regressions. Frequent repetition of word is helpful. Regression is due to lack of confidence. We can correct this by asking the child to read silently before reading aloud and using flashcard or phrase cards. Reversals. Beginners usually reverse, but the dyslexic child continues the habit. In the beginning, child maybe when they learn alphabet, they may reverse these letters, but dyslexic child continues that same habit. P and Q, B and D was for saw. Sometimes the entire sentence, for example, garden went into the girl, instead of saying girl went into the garden. Me, we, bad, bag, bun, bus, these are the some of the examples. The remedial steps is to be established the concept of right and left by using motor movements. Word by word reading. The child reads without intonation, expression or punctuation and pause. He loses sight of the meaning. Poor word identification skills, lack of a sight and vocabulary, inability to use that word in correct context. Sound blending. It is the ability to combine letters into words. The child isolates sounds while reading. Cat, cat. Problem like for example, cat, cat. Problems with visual and auditory discrimination often lead to difficulty in blending sounds. By teaching meaningful pattern, we can avoid this type of problem. Memory skills. Children with reading disability are unable to retain impressions or traces of visual and auditory stimuli. They can't retain in their memory. Make comparison with auditory and visual experiences, may not remember words or letters or sounds due to auditory memory disturbances, may not recognize specific letters or words as a result of poor visual memory. For example, a chair, milk, he will miss spells. Omission of initial consonants. Child often omits initial consonants. Example, member for remember. Teacher must note the frequency of errors and the kinds of omissions or distortions the child makes and try to give remedial training to such type of children. Dysgraphia. This is disorder of writing. Disorder of writing is referred as dysgraphia. The word dysgraphia was coined from Greek words dys meaning ill or difficult and graphy means to write. The term dysgraphia means difficulty in handwriting. Dysgraphia is extremely poor handwriting or the inability to perform the motor movements required for handwriting. Characteristics of dysgraphia. According to Jordan, there are 5 characteristics and behaviors associated with dysgraphia: difficulty with alphabet symbols, confusion with direction, sentence structure, difficulty with simple shapes, tendency to telescope. He looks it very big. Disorders of writing, that handwriting will be too much slant, writing too straight, writing too heavy or writing too light, writing too angular, writing too irregular or spacing too wide. They give so much gap in between words and letters also. Dyscalculia. Dyscalculia is a problem related to mathematics and the acquisition of mathematical concept. Dyscalculia, in calculation part, the child has the disability is called as dyscalculia. The child shows trouble in counting, adding and at times may not be able to recognize the numerical symbols or arithmetic signs. This is called as dyscalculia. Lack of motivation, poor teaching, teacher is not teaching properly this mathematics, fear and no interest to learn mathematics, lack of learning and readiness. Lack of readiness can also be a cause of this dyscalculia. Some children will never show interest to learn this mathematics out of fear. They do not have any motivation to learn. Types of mathematical problems: shape discrimination, size discrimination, size and numbers discrimination, counting discrimination. These 4 are the problems in this dyscalculia. Auditory visual associations, for example, associating 16 with numeral 1 and 6. The child will not have proper association, means he will not listen correctly or disability in listening and visual perception. So, child writes in a wrong number. Place value, example 63 as 6 and 3. Place value of 60 in 63, place value of 6 is 60, 3 is 3 only. The child reverses and place value changes. Instead of 3, he writes it in the place of 30 in tens place and 6 comes into ones place, it will become 36. Computing skills. X is an extension of plus, multiplication is an extension of plus, divided is an inverse operation of multiplication. He does all the calculations, compute all these computing skills in a wrong way. Measurement, money and time. Example, between numbers like 6 and 9, the 69 instead of that, then 6.30, 316, like that, whatever he may not be able to say the correct time, 6 instead of 6:30, he may say some other number, some other time. That is measurement, money and time. Language, concepts such as before, after, lesser than, all these symbols he gets confuses and he may not be able to answer correctly. Mathematical symbols like multiplication, addition, division and equal to, he gets confused. Educational provisions for the learning disabled. Provision of specialized school or classes. This provision is based on the assumption that learning disabled children are quite distinct from other children of their school or classes. They cannot be taught along with others as they differ and suffer from several learning deficiencies and deficits. So, hence they require special school or at least separate classroom taught by specialized teachers through special methods and techniques, especially on the same curriculum with great care and attention we have to teach them. Role of a regular classroom teacher: make the classroom personalized, promote independence, cooperative functioning and problem solving attitude and approach teacher should have. Accept the perception of learner about classroom environment, provide variety of options to motivate each child, encourage independent and small group work. Increase people's commitment, control and responsibility, then they will perform well, they will learn and perform it perfectly. Informal and formal conferences can be held, ongoing assessment should be there and student evaluations are done to know each student's progress. You have to continuously check these learning disabled children. A structured program has to be avoided because they have some kind of inability, so they may not do all that work in a faster way, so they will do very slowly. So, the structured programs has to be avoided and allows distractible student to sit in center. So, he will not disturb all the children. Use peer teaching and allow the learning disabled child to be a tutor to do that lesson or to do that work. Give homework on the curriculum taught only. Don't give, we should not give curriculum which is not taught to them because they are having already disability. They may not able to complete such type of work. Keep close contact with their parents and make them understand your child is having this type of disability. So, you have to look after that child completes the work. Identification of children and extra attention is given to this type of children. Approach the trained personnel if needed some kind of counseling or guidance. Then resource rooms also very much helpful for these learning disabled children. Use short, brief directions and large print for this type of learning disabled children. Use consistent language, simple language where child can understand without any disturbances. Then color cues we can use. Write directions or steps on a chalkboard, blackboard. Underline important words, important sentences we have to repeat it in the classroom alternate use of colors for each step in a series of directions in a mathematics especially, child will be able to perceive properly. Increase round level of instructions means one after the other in a round, in a cycle we have to repeat that, then the child is rehearsal and revising more times, the child is able to understand. Use diagrams or pictorial illustrations for these learning disabled children, then they will understand very well the concrete concepts, they will understand nicely. Use an overview of the lesson, ask questions, ask them to read the material, recite and review. Recite and review we have to do more number of times for these learning disabled children. Thank you. ఈరోజు గురుకులాస్ పెడగాజీ ఆఫ్ సోషల్ సైన్సెస్లో భాగంగా డిజైనింగ్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షనల్ మెటీరియల్ ఇన్ సోషల్ సైన్సెస్. డిజైనింగ్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షనల్ మెటీరియల్ ఇన్ సోషల్ సైన్సెస్. The sequence of events or teachings acts that a teacher plans, organizes and carries out in order to create learning environment is called an instructional design. It is concerned with the structure of content to create a suitable learning environment of appropriate teaching strategies and methods and assessment of the performance and the level of students. An instructional product can be epitomized by specifying its message and its message vehicle. The message is the instructional content of the product and can be described by listing the skills, understanding and effective responses that constitute the educational objectives associated with the product. Message vehicles are usually described in terms of media types. It is possible to speak of textbooks, motion pictures, audio tapes, slides, sets, maps, model and so forth. An instruction design describes both the product and message vehicle. The different phases in the instructional design are listed below: stimulating motivation, informing the learner the objectives of learning, gaining and directing attention, activating recall, enhancing retention and transfer. These are the phases of instructional design. Providing learning guidance, eliciting performance, providing feedback, assessing performance, reviewing the process on the basis of assessment. Types of instructional designs. Instruction designs are based on the following aspects: objective based, skill based, competency based, learner style based, model based, value based. These 6 are the instructional designs. Objective based instruction designs. Educational objectives imply the change that we try to produce in the students through the process of teaching. The objective is written in the form of a statement and has the following characteristics. It provides the direction for the teaching activity, which is designed to achieve a predominant goal. It helps in planning for the desired change. It provides the basis for organizing activities. Skill based instruction designs. Teaching skill is defined as a group of teaching acts, behaviors intended to facilitate pupils' learning directly or indirectly. The activities that performed by a teacher in the classroom may be classified as introducing, demonstrating, citing examples and expectations, exceptions, hypothesizing, reporting, conjecturing, confirming, contrasting, explaining, elaborating and concluding. These interrelated teaching acts, which are observable, measurable and controlled and help in achieving teaching objects, are called as teaching skill. The analytical approach to teaching assumes that teacher can be purposefully trained to develop these teaching skills and use them judiciously in their teaching process. Competency based instruction designs. Competency based education, also known as performance based education, is a relatively new approach to teaching that has in its core the ideas of accountability and competencies. Accountability is achieved by breaking teaching into discrete components or behaviors and planning activities to accomplish and master these. In competency based education, competencies are spelled out so that it is possible to assess students' learning through observation of student behavior. Through observation, we can assess these competencies. In competency based education, competencies are spelled out. Instruction is present in the form of modules. A module being a set of learning activities or prerequisites, pre-assessment, instructional activities, post-assessment and remediation. Modularization helps in self-pacing, individualization and independent study. So, modularization helps in self-pacing, individualization and independent study. The teacher acts as a facilitator of learning and job is more directed towards the preparation of the self-instructional modules. Evaluation is done by criterion referenced testing. In such tests, no effort is made to compare the performance of students. Such tests provide relevant information regarding students' learning, excellence and deficiency. Learner based instruction design. Today there is a paradigm shift of education from teacher centered to child centered. Rosenberg described 4 learning patterns: rigid inhibited style, undisciplined style, acceptance anxious style, creative style. These 4 are the learning patterns, learner style based instruction designs. Then model based instruction design. Teaching means helping students to learn well. Powerful learners have a wide range of strategies for acquiring knowledge. Models of teaching were designed to impart to students such strategies, which will help them to think clearly, wisely and build social skills and commitment. They help students to acquire information, ideas, skills, values, ways of thinking and means of expressing themselves. In a nutshell, they are taught how to learn. The models are grouped into families: the social family, information processing family, the personal family, the behavioral systems family. Value based instruction designs. The duty of a teacher in a higher learning institutions is fourfold: to impart knowledge which would arm them with a degree to hopefully land into a job, whatever they learn; to uphold universal values, to propagate universal values, to inculcate universal values. So, we have to uphold universal values, to propagate universal values, to inculcate these values among students. By definition, a university stands for upholding and propagating universal values: human dignity, freedom, liberty, compassion, fraternity, charity, tolerance and such other cherished qualities, which would not be out of context to suggest that colleagues should in some form or the other have a program of ethical studies, moral and religious education and value education. We have to teach these in the classroom. Create an atmosphere that would facilitate the exploration and discovery of values through different experiences. Next topic is social sciences labs. In this 7th chapter, we have ICT, design, instructional design and social science labs textbooks. Social studies laboratory or classroom means a room fully equipped with modern aids. It will provide a pleasant social and cooperative environment where the teacher and the learner feel homely and learns better. It is a room for experimental work or research work. What is the need for this social science lab? Providing home of their own to the teacher of social studies to develop and initiate enthusiasm. To provide a fast and ready functional environment by making available the workroom for students. As the teaching aids needed for the content matter are available in the classroom, it becomes easy to communicate with the students. Time and energy can be saved as you do not need to move here and there. Variety in teaching methods can be facilitated with the help of social science lab. It develops likeness to the subject in average learners also. Certain equipments like LCD, OHP, TV, etc. Should be there in the social studies lab, which can be taken again and again from one room to the other. So, it is easy to use more than one technology for teaching if gathered at one place. It also reduces the danger of damage. The maintenance and durability of teaching aids can be increased when kept in a social science lab. So, this lab is essential in each classroom, each school. The teacher does the planning of content matter. The social room will obviously have a blackboard and it will help the teacher to note down the important points on the board in advance. So, it saves time. The seminars, debates, discussions, workshops can be carried out, it can be carried out very easily in the room. It is very easy to handle such type of situations in the classroom. Social science laboratory can also serve the purpose of work experience room. If there is a social science lab, the student can use their leisure time to read the reference books. So, it is very essential in each school. Equipment kept in social science lab. A well equipped and arranged or organized social science room should have the following equipment or aids: film strips, projector, tape recorder, magic lantern, overhead projector, LCD, liquid crystal display, bulletin boards, globes, charts and maps, models, barometer, flags, meteorological instruments, rain gauge, wind vane, thermometer, certain stones and minerals, textbooks, reference books, magazines, graphs for comparative study, atlas and stamps, periodical and list of activities, newspaper and the necessary furniture should be there in the social studies lab. The list made regarding the equipment kept in social science lab can be categorized into two groups: non-academic equipment, which include the furniture; academic equipment, which means which include all audio visual aids. Functions of this social science lab. The functions of social science lab can be listed as under for organization of various practical works, for conceptual clarity of various content points, for discussion and debate on various social and political issues, and to see, listen to those recorded documents or programs on CDs or VCD and with the help of LCD, and follow up discussion on those audios, videos and CDs. To observe and understand the geographical events like earthquakes, volcanic eruption, forest fire, etc. For organizing exhibition related to social sciences and also presenting role play or skits related to the subject. For the students to use their leisure time by reading their reference books or magazines in social science laboratory. Using the social science lab for students to do the self work activities like making charts, models, time graphs, and various competitions and talks can be organized in social science lab. Characteristics of social science lab: proper building, that suitable arrangement, proper seating arrangement, flexible arrangements of equipment and facilities, adequate lighting facilities. Characteristics of social science lab: proper building should be there and suitable arrangements should be there in the building, proper seating arrangements, flexible arrangements of equipment and other facilities, adequate lighting facilities should be there in the social science lab, facilities of ventilation and air supply in the laboratory, storage facilities also should be there, storeroom, all purpose room and must be well organized social science lab. In the laboratory or classroom, teacher works as a guide and director. He gives suggestions, guidance, encouragement and help when the people are in difficulty. Laboratory provides that land of social relationship in and when both the people and teacher plan and work and study together. It is very essential that every school must have one social studies room. Social science room is an inevitable part of school. In this we have textbooks also in this chapter. Instructional materials which could be used by the pupil will include textbook, supplementary materials, workbooks, programmed instructional material, general reference materials like encyclopedias, gazettes, atlases, pamphlets and government publications, advanced books on the subjects like encyclopedias. Instructional materials for the teacher will include syllabus, curriculum guides, teacher's handbook, teaching units and resource units, teacher's edition of textbooks, advanced books on the subject, general reference material. Textbooks. The opinion of educationists in India as well as abroad reveals that textbook is an integral part of any educational system. According to the report of the textbook committee of the Central Advisory Board of Education, a modern educational system without textbook is as difficult to imagine Hamlet without the Prince of Denmark. Generally speaking, textbooks play a more prominent role in high school instruction than in the elementary grades. In some schools, the course of study for a given subject is still determined by the context of textbooks. The textbook in fact constitutes an inseparable part of any system of education today. Even in the most developed countries where a variety of teaching learning tools available and techniques are available in the classroom, but textbooks continue to enjoy their rightful place. So, textbooks are very important. Textbooks to help the teacher, to help the people, to give the minimum essential knowledge at one place, to help in self-teaching, to provide logical and comprehensive material, to ensure uniformity of a good standards, to provide a base from which both the teacher and pupils may start and continue to work, to provide both confirmation and sustenance. Criteria for a good social studies textbook. A textbook be helpful and useful, it must contain all the qualifications of an aid or tool. It should help in achieving the purposes of teaching social studies. It should be child centered. It should contain fluent narration. It should have a clear and self-explanatory arrangement. It should open up various avenues of thought and study. The language of the textbook should be suitable for the reading age of the people. It should be well illustrated. In today's class, in this instructional design, social science lab and textbook we have learned. These are all there in the 7th chapters of Gurukula Pedagogy of Social Sciences. In this 7th chapter, ICT in Social Sciences is there. So, that is a small part. We are going to discuss that also now. ICT in Social Sciences. Information and Communication Technology refers to the integration of computing technology and communication. It can be defined as anything which allows us to get information, to communicate with each other, or to have an effect on the environment using electronic or digital equipment. In India, it has taken long strides in the field of education, especially in the schools. The Government of India has class computer literacy and awareness in secondary schools. It was the project in mid 1980s. It has marked as the genesis of this movement. However, for a long time the ICT in schools simply referred to IT education, only teaching of logo, basic and so on. Only recently has its scope has been extended to include ICT in education and in school administration also. The aim of ICT should be engage students at 3 levels: technical level, practical level and critical level. Students should not only learn to use technology, technical aspects, but they should also be able to use it in other activities referred to as its practical aspects. For example, in research, publishing and prediction, as also as the critical level also. So, 3 levels we have to utilize this ICT, that is technical level, practical level and critical level. Technical level, this we have to apply in the classroom situation as well as outside also in the living environment, and this practical knowledge is applicable every day, and critical level of thinking, where student must learn to evaluate the appropriateness of the message and audience and method to be followed, method to be used. ICT in education refer to the use of educational technology in teaching learning process. ICT in education in social sciences refers to the use of educational technology in teaching learning process. It is used as an enabler for teaching all subjects ranging from art to mathematics. Creative use of ICT can also make it possible to unify knowledge rather than various subjects discretely, separately. So, we can unify all the subjects and learn. It is argued that the effective use of ICT can help teachers meet the changing requirements of education in a more efficient way. ICT provides the tools to explore and collect information with greater ease, thus leaving enough time to analyze and integrate information. It makes memorization redundant by making information available at the click of a button. So, we do not need to memorize everything whatever we want to teach in the classroom. With the help of PPTs, videos, YouTube and clipping some kind of pictures, we can utilize with the help of multimedia, we can utilize this multimedia in the classroom. You do not need to memorize everything and reproduce in the classroom. ICT in education can fundamentally change the focus and goals of education. Education goals towards ITR, exploration and problem solving rather than memorizing and learning to process of information, rather than more collection of information. So, we have here problem solving ability should be there and processing of information rather than mere collection of information. We have to collect information to utilize this ICT and show to children in the classroom, and search for patterns and connections rather than linear sequential reasoning. We have to connect, interrelate all these concepts and subjects. According to Davis, ICT provides an alternate source of knowledge and information, and teachers can therefore be free from managing classroom to concentrate on enhancing the quality of learning experiences for students. So, knowledge is available over there, then the child is able to learn faster with the help of this ICT based education. This leads to more qualitative communication between the teacher and the students. Thus we can have a really fruitful learning experiences in the classroom. A world survey of representative schools in 26 countries showed that 10 most important obstacles to integrate ICT in education are: insufficient number of computers in the schools, teachers lack knowledge and skills in computation, difficult to integrate query in instruction, scheduling computer time, insufficient peripherals, not enough copies of software, insufficient teacher time, not enough simulations access to World Wide Web, that is internet, not enough supervision staff, lack of technical assistance. These are the major 10 problems in introducing ICT in the education. These impediments highlights the importance of providing adequate hardware and support facilities for getting the best out of the use of technology in teaching learning process. The main source is internet. Internet is sometimes referred as a mother of all networks. Without thousands of computers all over the world without internet we cannot connect all these thousands of computers all over the world. So, with the help of this internet, we can connect number of computers with satellite, cables and radio waves. The information stored in those computers and can be shared. Internet and multimedia can provide children with active learning experiences. Child will learn with the help of multimedia very easily. Okay, these are all self-paced learning. Child is able to operate and learn by himself or herself. Computer based tutorials, multimedia CDs, different subject, different reference CDs like encyclopedia. We have to utilize these educational resources in the classroom. Then open access journals. Open access journals have more information compared with any other journals available free to everybody. The society will get large benefit out of these open access journals. Benefits of this ICT for teachers. Elimination of physical limits imposed by classrooms. Teacher can connect to students and to the resources available in different parts of the world, which are very helpful for the students and as well as teachers. Greater access to information and knowledge. Information on any topic is easily available. It is only one mouse click away. It increases motivation to learn. Learner is very happy to learn from the internet. The concept of lifelong learning and self-learning is becoming more easier and possible with the help of this ICT. More effective and custom-made teaching. It is very effective teaching with the help of ICT. With the use of these presentation, PPT presentation and different softwares and different materials, these multimedia based presentations which are preferred by students, they will learn much better and effectively. More efficient teaching management. IT helps in evaluation also and other administrative activities. It enhances critical thinking. Only recalling, retrieving information and reproducing in the exam will not be possible here. Child can think critically and ability to draw conclusions also we can develop in the students. Greater autonomy for future teachers. You can use computers. Teacher can integrate this ITC in the classroom for effective teaching learning process.